could have won every war, but we really chose to be very politically correct or wokey, and we just fight.
Okay, wokey is a slur you can't say, guys.
The Secretary of War and the Department of War.
Very important bills, and Will, would you discuss them, please?
Yes,
Is this just a regular executive order signing?
H.R. 2808. This is the Home Buyers Privacy Protection Act. The congressman here was the lead sponsor, so I think maybe he
John Rouse, yes.
say more about it than
John,
I can.
Please.
Well, it's difficult for Americans to buy a home, particularly after the last 4 years, sir. But with the president's signature today, we're going to make it easy for people to buy a home without getting hassled. For years, their private personal information has been bought and sold in the open market, resulting in them getting innumerable phone calls and text messages. But with your signature today, we're going to put an end to that so that when Americans try to realize the American dream of owning a home, they're able to do so without being harassed.
Good job. Good. It's a great honor, John.
Do you think they're putting this forward because it was found out that a bunch of people in Trump's cabinets have engaged in the exact same kind of real estate fraud that Lisa Cook did, where they listed multiple residences as their primary residence? I don't know.
Okay, there it is. And that's going to help a lot of the homeowners of our great country. John, want to hold that?
Sure.
Thank you, John, very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, Will, you go ahead.
And I'd like to leave you with this gift from a constituent back in Tennessee.
Oh, I could use that at night.
It's an American flag.
That's very nice. I like that.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. That's very nice.
Next, we have a number of executive orders for your attention, sir.
Okay.
From 1789 until 1947, our nation won some of its greatest military victories under the direction of a Secretary of War operating within a Department of War.
Can't they not do this without congressional approval? Because the Senate has the Senate has their defense committee. Like they would need to change this through legislation.
Today, with this executive order, you will authorize the current Secretary of Defense and the current Department of Defense to once again embrace this great lineage and once again be named the Secretary of War and the Department of War.
So this is something we thought long and hard about. We've been talking about it for months, Pete and I and Dan. Dan came into the fold. By the way, a great general. He headed up the, I wouldn't call it an attack. I'd almost call that one maybe even more than an attack. What he did with Iran, you saw the success of that operation. It was perfect. In fact, this was sent to me by the great company that makes that particular B-2 bomber, and it was flawless. It was actually flawless. They flew for 37 hours back and forth, and there wasn't a bolt that was out of condition. There wasn't an engine failure. There was no problem. It was a perfect attack, and it knocked out any possible nuclear capability for Iran, which nobody wanted to see, and we weren't going to put up with. So great job, Dan. And we've been talking about this Department of War. So we won the First World War. We won the Second World War. We won everything before that and in between. And then we decided to go woke, and we changed the name to Department of Defense. So
Go woke. Go woke under Truman. That's dude. Woke ass Truman, man. Hit with the desegregation and the bathrooms. Oh my God. Ridiculous.
we're going Department of War, and I'd like to ask our Secretary of War to say a few words. Pete Hegseth, I think it's a much more...
By the way, I'm in favor of this. The DOD thing has always been bullshit. I despise the idea that our military is used defensively. It has not been used defensively in an incredibly long time. I'll take World War II because Pearl Harbor happened, but apart from that, like, no. You know, it's the Department of War.
Appropriate name, especially in light of where the world is right now. We have the strongest military in the world. We have the greatest equipment in the world. We have the greatest manufacturers of equipment by far. There's nobody to even compete. And you see that with this and so many other things. The Patriots are the best. Every element of the military, we make the best by far. So, Pete, I'd like to ask you and maybe Dan Raisin Kane to say a few words.
Mr. President, thank you. After winning a war for independence in 1789, George Washington established the War Department, and Henry Knox was his first Secretary of War. And this country won every major war after that, to include World War I and World War II. Total victory, Mr. President, as you said. Then 150 years
Total victory in World War I? Okay.
After that, we changed the name after World War II from the Department of War to the Department of Defense in 1947. And as you pointed out, Mr. President, we haven't won a major war since, and that's not to disparage our warfighters, whether it's the Korean War, the Vietnam War, or our generation of Iraq and Afghanistan. That's to recognize that this name change is not just about renaming, it's about restoring. Words matter. It's restoring, as you've guided us to, Mr. President, restoring the warrior ethos.
Liberal fascism, man. Words matter, you know? Be careful with the words you use. I mean, this is fascist esotericism, right? The idea that the functionality of the department would be affected by its fucking name.
Restoring victory and clarity as an end state. Restoring intentionality to the use of force. So, at your direction, Mr. President, the War Department is going to fight decisively, not endless conflicts. It's going to fight to win, not
Well, labels our policy to these people. That's true. Unless you're an immigrant, like genuinely, so far all the administration has done is tank the economy and vice signal. Like the only actual material force that the administration has placed on you is the economy is slowly worsening, and they keep talking about how much they like bad things. Or work in disease prevention. Well, the plagues will come soon. And yeah, if you were, I should say, like an African relying on US aid, you're probably dead. That'll kill a few million people over the next decade or so. But, you know, we're making America great again or something. We saved like $5.
Lose. We're going to go on offense, not just on defense. Maximum lethality, not tepid legality. Violent effect, not politically correct. We're going to raise up warriors, not just defenders. So this War Department, Mr. President, just like America, is back. Thank you for your leadership and your clarity. We're going to set the tone for this country. America first, peace through strength, brought to you by the War Department. We're back.
All right, thank you very much. Very well stated, and really it has to do with winning. We should have won every war. We could have won every war, but we really chose to be very politically correct or wokey, and we just fight.
Okay, wokey is a slur you can't say, guys. To be clear.
Forever, and then we, win. We wouldn't lose really. We just fight to sort of tie. We never wanted to win wars that every one of them we would have won easily with just a couple of little changes or a couple of little edicts. I was told that ISIS would take 5 years to win, and Dan Kane, when I told him how long would it take, he said, I think about 4 weeks, sir. I said, what do you mean 4 weeks? I was told 5 years by the people in Washington. You know who they were? 5 years. I said, you can't do it in 4 weeks. I actually flew to Iraq to meet with him, and I met him at a big air base, and remember that famous day, right? It turned out to be a famous day for our country because you're now the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, which is the biggest deal. And he is because he...
I think it was good for Biden to have pulled out of Afghanistan, but it is worth keeping in mind that if he didn't, like knowing in advance that Trump was going to win the next election, Trump 100% would have tried to pull out of Afghanistan, and it would have been so much messier. And that would have been pretty fun to watch. Trump would have somehow lost, we would have suffered more American casualties than we had people occupying Afghanistan. I don't know how, but they would have gotten a more than total casualty rate. It would have been incredible.
Did things that everybody said he couldn't do. So they said it was going to be 5 years, and he knocked them out in about 4 weeks total, 100%. We took over, and ISIS was gone, and pretty amazing. But we never fought to win, and now if we have to fight it all, we solved 7 wars. Nice. We have the one that I thought was going to be probably one of the easier ones, and that's with President Putin and Ukraine. And that turned out to be one that's a little bit more difficult, but the 7 are done. They were supposed to be much more difficult to solve. I solved every one of them, and we're going to get the other one done too. But it turned out to be a little bit more difficult than I thought. And it'll get done or they'll be held to pay. But because they're losing 6 to 7, it used to be 5. I used to tell you 5. Now it's almost 7. I guess 7,000 people last week, 7,800.
I saw a respected military matters expert / advisor crashing out and screaming about how the Trump admin is trying to do an enshittified Imperial Japan Bushido warrior ethos bit, but they don't even commit seppuku when they fuck up. Yeah, it is pretty difficult to be like the oorah warfighter master when you can't even do a proper pull-up without, like, flinging your legs upward. I'm telling you, man, it comes back to, it's the pale echo thing. It comes back to the administration loving life too much, namely their own. You know, if you're Hitler and you survive World War I, you don't give a fuck about people dying. You are climbing over bodies to deliver messages in the trenches. Literally, you know? Nowadays, everyone's a massive pussy, so you want to, like, have the super epic crusader warrior rhetoric, but, like, the majority of crusaders died of dysentery on the way down to fucking Constantinople, okay? You're not ready for the level of suffering that you would have to personally, inflict upon yourself in order to build this world again. It wouldn't be good if you did, but you're like trying to half-ass it.
And 13 people, young soldiers, died. Russian and Ukrainian, not American soldiers. But it's a shame. And it's just, you know, they're human lives, and I want to see it stop. But General Kane's done a fantastic job. And again, defeated ISIS, which they said would take long time.
The majority of crusaders died fighting the town guards of European villages on the way to the Holy Land. Yeah, because they were raping and stealing on the way over. The crusaders were literally like a bunch of retard, unwashed peasants who were like land walking their way all the way down. And they had to keep eating the whole way. And, you know, they want to rape. So this group of like holy, epic, super duper based trad cats would just set on white Christian village after white Christian village being like, hey, can we have enough food for like 10,000 people? Also, like, can we rape all of your women? And the town guards would say, no, actually, we're going to leave you outside the gates. And then they would fight and so on. Like, this is what people idealize today, okay? They were basically just jihadis. They weren't basically just jihadis. They were literally jihadis. They were like definitionally on every point possible. It was basically an unemployment program for fail sons who didn't have land to inherit. Yeah, it was basically like the Chud incel march. Me and my many Chud incel soldiers marching to Constantinople. It's only like 1,200 miles or whatever from where we are currently.
And it didn't take a long time at all, and did other things that people said really couldn't happen. We have the greatest equipment in the world. We have the greatest soldiers in the world. Dan, say a few words, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. It's
all right. This is like lame and gay now. Are we done? We get it. War Department.
It's a true honor.
Minutes, but yes, please. Many, many billions of dollars. You couldn't build it. The longest runways, the most powerful runways in terms of load capacity, and we're going with it very strongly. There's a question as to whether or not they have to, but we'll put it before Congress.
Do you know how much this rebrand will actually cost? And are there any concerns about, you know, the Pentagon's mission of actually cutting back on spending?
Yeah, but not a lot, you know.
Solid 50-50 on there being somehow an enormous, like, national security data breach involved in the transfer of the website of defense.gov over to war.gov. Something is going to happen. The like, intern from Doge they have working on the transfer is going to, like, in some way, they're going to lose a bunch of info along the way. We're going to forget like 37 component parts of the you know, like an experimental fighter jet the Pentagon's been working on for 12 years, and the entire program's going to be out to dust. $200 billion gone. Oh my fucking god, right now the website is gone. If you type defense.gov into your URL bar, it goes to war.gov and it's an invalid URL. They already broke it. What if they lost the whole website by accident? I'm telling you, man, we're going to forget how to build F-35s. It's going to be lost technology. It's going to be some 30K Imperium shit. You know? The next administration is going to be like, guys, can we, like, rebuild our defense capacity after getting our ass handed to us in the South China Sea? And they're going to be like, sorry, dog, we have no idea how to build any of this shit. We're going to have to, from first principles, we need to go back to borrowing, like, French design documents or something, okay?